Clearly, they want to boost the economics inside the U.S. Job creation is one of those. So this initiative fits very strongly with both security of the U.S. and job creation inside the U.S. and working together with our allies. So I don't see it being a lower priority. I think this is going to remain pretty high on the priority list.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 434. How is AgEagle driving innovation and growth in the drone industry? For that question, we head to Dallas, Texas, to speak with Bill Irby, CEO of AgEagle. AgEagle is a global technology leader specializing in enhancing situational awareness through advanced robotics solutions. The company focuses on providing autonomous drones designed to tackle mission-critical challenges with high-value solutions. Founded in 2010, AgEagle initially pioneered professional-grade fixed-wing drones and aerial imagery tailored to the agricultural industry. Over the years, the company has expanded its reach and is now a leading provider of full-stack drone solutions for industries including energy, construction, agriculture, and government sectors worldwide. As CEO, Bill brings a wealth of experience to AgEagle. A United States Naval Academy graduate, Bill has spent more than 25 years of senior management expertise in uncrewed air and maritime systems, ISR systems, actuation hardware, and communication systems. His career includes serving as vice president at Northrop Grumman, one of the world's largest defense technology providers, generating $30 billion annually. He also served as president of MTI and Steel Partners Holdings. Additionally, Bill is an active board member of Ghost Robotics and the chairman of the Association for Uncrewed Vehicle Systems International. In this episode of the Drone Radio Show, Bill discusses AgEagle's evolution and technology, the company's expansion into military and public safety markets, a recent visit to the White House to discuss the drone industry, and the role of AI and innovation in the drone industry. But before we hear from Bill, I'd like to remind you that your support is the backbone of this podcast. Every episode is crafted with you in mind, and your contributions help me continue to bring you the stories and insights that you love. Whether it's a small donation like the price of a coffee or a more significant contribution, every bit helps cover production costs. To support the podcast, visit droneradioshow.com/donate. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform and leave a review on iTunes. Your ratings help improve the podcast's visibility among the thousands of active podcasts today. Finally, if you have an inspiring drone story that you'd like to share, email me at randy@droneradioshow.com. Now let's dive into how AgEagle is leading the drone industry with innovative solutions. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Bill to introduce himself.
My name is Bill Irby. I'm the CEO of AgEagle Aerial Systems.
Bill, can you give us an overview of AgEagle? What does the company do, and what are its primary areas of focus?
So AgEagle, we specialize in two general product areas. Number one is a fixed-wing drone. We do design, engineering, the whole engineering cycle out all the way through production and support for a drone family called the Irby, of which there are three models, the EBX, the EBTAC, and the EBVision, with the Vision being our latest. And we also do multispectral cameras from the design all the way through the same functions that I talked to you about on the drone side. Those cameras are primarily used for agriculture, but they do have some other uses in the building inspection business, mining, surveys, etc. But photogrammetry is the main use for those systems.
How long has AgEagle been in operation, and how has it evolved over the years?
AgEagle started as a farmer's hobby back in 2009 and actually was created into a company in 2010. was developed over several years. And then I believe it was 2019 it went public, and then has been traded on the NYSE American since that point.
What are some of the key industries and use cases driving interest in your products today?
Right now, we've spent a lot of time analyzing our approach strategically, and we look at one general market that consists of two pieces that I think we've undertapped over our years. Number one is the defense market, which has significant growth attached to it, and number two is public and global safety, which may sound similar to defense, but I'm thinking about law enforcement. I'm thinking about safety missions of different types. If you can imagine a Coast Guard mission to save people out at sea. So we've expanded greatly from agriculture over into civil and commercial. As I mentioned, we do a lot of building inspection work. We do land surveys. We do wetlands restoration. We do mining, survey of mining areas, and many, many other similar missions. But lately, we've shifted our focus to the military market, not completely. We still want to serve all the other markets that we're in, but we think the area of military is undertapped. And I've gotten a lot of questions about that, about our role in that. And we are not a weaponized platform. We are primarily used for survey and reconnaissance. And if you think of it this way, it's saving lives even in a military environment, because you're keeping people safe. You're looking for dangers that are out there in front of you in the field. And so we think there's a lot of expansion in the military. Our largest contracts were military and safety related awards last year.
How much overlap is there between the technology you develop for commercial use and what you offer for military applications? Are they distinct, or do you leverage similar platforms?
Yeah, it's a great question. The aerial platform is virtually the same. We developed that on a commercial basis. We didn't bring any specific military technologies into the platform itself. And we've leveraged commercial technologies all the way through. What we did, though, was we tailored our design to make sure that we had commercially available encryption, we had the right communication protocols, the fact that we can provide the sensors that the military would want primarily that are commercially available basis. So the government did not specify to us what needs to be built, right? We built this on a commercial basis, having worked with customers over time, gained feedback. And when we developed and fielded the EB vision, it was based on that feedback, and it's taken hold, and several military customers like it. But it's being bought essentially on a commercial basis, not on a specification that was developed from the military.
AI is a hot topic across industries right now. How is AI shaping the drone space, and what role does it play in your systems at AgEagle?
In the drone space, there's a ton of potential regarding AI. If you can think of every mission or every purpose that needs processing, artificial intelligence can play a huge role in the drone industry, whether it be from processing sensor data and trying to make sense of what's being looked at, to aircraft flying together, operating seamlessly as a squadron, if you will, or a large group out there maneuvering together. AI can be utilized for all of those functions and bring a ton of value. At AgEagle, we have a level of automation in our systems. We've integrated automation to the point where we can put eyeballs on a target, have the aircraft, do auto navigation to keep the best look angle and everything on those target areas. And we are emerging in the AI space. So we do have plans to integrate AI further, but I don't want to get specific on those use points for anything that's going public at this point.
There's often confusion between AI and automation. Can you clarify the difference and how each is used in drone technology?
It can be viewed as a nuance, but if you think of artificial intelligence, the term edge processing used to be used, right? You're looking at nodes of computers that are either fixed or moving, whether in the air or on the ground, that are each working together, talking to each other to get the best processing algorithms implemented and looking at different things together and making decisions on the fly. We have not done that yet at AgEagle in our systems, but we are eyeing the use of that type of technology for our future.
When integrating AI into your products, is it a complete overhaul, or is it something you can incorporate incrementally over time?
That's sort of a general question. I think it depends on what you're trying to do with AI. The key question to ask yourself is, what am I trying to accomplish with my systems, right? What purpose am I trying to serve, and how does AI get used in that purpose? So we've got a number of different customer sets that may be able to use it. I can think of, just a rough example would be somebody's lost at sea and you need to find, somebody who's out there and you can't find them through any other means. You implement a small squadron of drones together that can automatically take off from seaborne platforms and begin to work together to search areas at sea and discover these targets via thermal imaging, et cetera. When I say targets, I mean people who need rescuing. So aircraft would work together to determine a search pattern, would go out and implement that search pattern, would be able to discriminate between things in the water that have a thermal sensor, and they can figure out, no, that's a whale or that's a human who's out there floating at sea, and radio back to the rescue ship. So that's just an example of how AI could be effectively used in systems like this.
Let's talk about the U.S. drone industry. A strong U.S. drone presence is critical for many reasons. In fact, there was a recent White House meeting on this topic that you attended. Before we get into the White House meeting, can you first tell us why is it important for the U.S. to maintain a strong presence in this market?
As everybody, I think, knows, there's a particular Chinese manufacturer that has been supplemented by the Chinese government to compete in the U.S. and elsewhere across the world. They came out with a number of drones that caught on in the industry. And in particular, because they were subsidized, they could compete with costs that were much lower than any other particular competitor that was out there. And so that is viewed as a concern, but you overlay on top of that, not only the cost competition, whether it's fair, you take a look at what data is potentially being pumped back to the home of origin of these systems, China in this case, for example. The U.S. has a big and very valid concern about that. And you had mentioned that my visit to the White House with several other companies, that was exactly the topic that was discussed on securing the supply chain in the U.S., bolstering the supply chain in the U.S. to make sure that active components are able to be acquired elsewhere than China. And it's a very important topic because not only economically, but for the security of our country, that we have sources that we can look at and know that they're secure, providing key technologies to the drone industry.
How engaged were the White House staff in talking about a strategy?
It's very clear that there's a strategic growth in the drone industry in the U.S. The White House, the staff from the National Security Council and National Economic Council were very engaging. They were very educated about the state of the market in the U.S. And it's clear that they understand the economic and the security benefit behind this industry. So the government is making very substantial moves to bolster industries that not only the drone manufacturers, but also the PCB manufacturers, the electronic components, cameras, batteries, et cetera. And so they're very well aware that investment is required to move these technologies along inside the U.S., within the U.S. borders and allied countries. I do want to state that, and that's an important nuance. It's not all U.S., but it's allied countries as well. So we need to be working together given the state of the threat out there.
How did the meeting at the White House come about?
AUVSI, right, is the U.S.'s Association for Uncrewed Systems International. And AUVSI is very active with the government on messaging concerns about the industry and working very actively with drone manufacturers and related industries in the U.S. to promote those causes. So there were two organizations. One was AUVSI and one was the Commercial Drone Alliance that worked together to put this meeting together. And there were leaders from about somewhere between 15 and 20 companies total, one of which was AgEagle, my company. So I went in with a number of other company leaders to address these councils on these topics. And great discussion, fantastic discussion. And what's clear to me is the government is taking the issue very seriously. They're prepared to invest. And a question was asked, and what came out of it also was it's a very bipartisan issue. The government does not see the strategy changing, whether it be from the current administration to the incoming administration. It doesn't matter because both political parties are very concerned about the same topic. So I don't see there being any change in approach post-election.
What's your sense of the priorities for the new administration?
It's a great question. I think within the new administration, what you hear is, clearly They want to boost the economics inside the U.S. Job creation is one of those. So this initiative fits very strongly with both security of the U.S. and job creation inside the U.S. and working together with our allies. So I don't see it being a lower priority. I think this is going to remain pretty high on the priority list.
What areas do you think the federal government could help?
I don't want to speak for the government, and I don't speak for the government, but I want to say I think the technologies that are most important are battery technologies. When we speak about these drones, the large majority of what's discussed is Group 1 systems that are primarily electrically powered. So battery technology and making sure we have access not only to the resources, the chemical resources that are needed for those batteries, but also the design specifics and the ability to manufacture in high volume. I would say the second one is computer processors and making sure that electronics boards and all the technologies that underlie advanced computing are important to have within our borders as well. Those are the two primary from my perspective, and I think it's pretty consistent with what I hear from the government. The third is likely on the sensor side, whether it be full motion video sensors or other types of sensors of concern.
What was discussed in the area of legislation?
The biggest thing that was discussed is FAA regulations for drones and the evolving rulemaking bodies within the FAA. So the White House continues to put pressure or understand the pressure that's on the industry and the FAA to get things done. And I think they're going to be an encouragement to the Federal Aviation Administration to make the rulemaking happen on a faster basis.
A few weeks ago, there were dozens of unexplained drone sightings in the Northeast. What have you heard about those sightings?
There were a mix of things going on. Number one, when you look at the videos that were captured, it was pretty clear a lot of what was captured was actually manned aircraft, and some of them were drones, possibly hobbyists. As to the speculation that's out there as to the origin and or purpose of other things that may have been drones, I have no idea. It still hasn't been made clear if anybody knows the actual answer, but certainly raised a lot of concern. And I think the concerns are valid, but nothing has been validated or released that would clarify the situation from what I've seen.
What are the next steps in working with the new administration?
Yeah, I think there have been some follow-up meetings that have come out. Generally, it's on the one follow-up session I was involved with was battery technologies, and specifically looking at what is needed to move forward on general battery standards so that design standards could be established to strengthen the base inside the U.S. That was the purpose of the follow-up session I was involved in, and that's the only one I've seen, to be frank.
2024 turned out to be a big year for AgEagle. Can you discuss some of the major achievements of the company?
In late 2023, we finished the design on the EB Vision, and we released it in early 24 for purchase by the market. The sales and BD team was very active with a few of the military customers out there, and we secured two of the biggest contracts in the history of AgEagle. One of those was with the French, and the second one was with the UAE security forces. We just finished our final delivery for the French customer today, in fact. So we followed through on that contract. We believe there will be more to come, and I'll just leave it at that. But that customer seems to be fairly pleased with what they've received. We'll be finishing up on the deliveries for the UAE shortly. So for 2025, we've got some other big things planned, a couple of new product releases, both on the drone side of our business and the camera side. I don't want to let too much information out right now, but you will see some things as we go through the year on new product releases, both on the camera product line and the drone side.
What are some of the challenges facing the drone industry today?
I think, there's going to be additional industry consolidation, especially on the smaller drones. There are a lot of companies out there, and a couple of them have really gained some pretty significant market traction. Others are more on the technology side and haven't necessarily gotten all the market traction yet. My belief is you'll see industry consolidation. Some of these companies will merge together. Others may just exit, based on, too much investment being required. So I think you're going to see a lot of M&A activity through the next year.
Some say innovation in the drone industry has slowed. What's your perspective on the pace of innovation today?
From my angle, I don't think innovation has slowed down at all. So I think we're looking at it through two different lenses. I understand the point that you're making, but if you roll the clock back about 5 years, a lot of these technologies we're talking about today were very new, right, and came about. There are some things under development that I think may change your perspective here in the next year or so. But, the key thing that sticks out in my mind is look how systems are being used over in Ukraine, right? What you're talking about there is rapid adoption commercially of drones that, for the most part, exist, right? So users have been taking those and modifying them on their own very quickly to try to get a handle on the threat. In this case, Ukraine against Russia. I think you're going to see a lot of that type of innovation continue to happen. But technologically, there's still a lot of technical innovation. You mentioned one of the key areas on the artificial intelligence front. I think you're going to start seeing swarming operations being demonstrated, co-use of ground robotics and uncrewed systems, in the air. I think you're going to see a lot more innovation.
Looking ahead, what are AgEagle's key objectives over the next couple of years? Where do you see the company going?
We would like to continue to grow, on the military and defense side. In addition to that, public safety is huge. I want to make sure that we, maximize the production. Our EV Vision drones that are, like I mentioned, were just released for production in 2024. We want to maximize production on that. I want to make sure we keep our ears to the ground and eyes with our customers and work together to define requirements for next-gen systems. We do have upgrades to the drone products scheduled for later this year. I won't name those at this point, and new releases on our camera product lines coming too. So I think it's going to be a big year for internal innovation for us and getting some new products out there. So those are the big items. I believe you're going to see some information coming out later next year about teaming arrangements or other joint activities we might have with other companies coming out. Those are some big things we've got planned and we'll be announcing as we go forward.
And for my final question, Bill, what message would you like to leave regarding the future of the drone industry?
I think the drone industry is in a great position. While I mentioned consolidation, I think that spells out opportunity for those who are doing well. And I think there's a bright future for us. So it's always a pleasure working in an industry like this and our partners. So I think it's optimistic, my friend.
That's it for episode 434 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Bill Irby of AgEagle. I want to thank Bill for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about AgEagle or want to connect with Bill, check out the webpage at ageagle.com. If you like the Drone Radio Show, then please subscribe and share. Write a glowing review on iTunes. And if you're able, donate to keep the podcast going. Go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.